Well, according to publishing giant Mills and Boon, romance is the most popular of fiction genres. Every 5 seconds, someone, somewhere in the world, buys one of their books, so the company says. But until relatively recently in Australia, romance writers have gone unrecognised. Now they have their own literary awards, called the Rubies. And Simon Royal's been following the fortunes of an Adelaide romance writer nominated for an award, and he's also been looking at the changing face of romance novels.
As William Shakespeare once said, love comforteth like sunshine after the rain. So perhaps on this miserable Adelaide morning, that's a good omen for Kath Holland. She's off to Sydney for the Romance Writers' annual Ruby Awards to see if her love story will earn a place in the sun. A book called Wanted, a Father for Her Twins.
It's a story of Rosie, who is the guardian for her brother's twins, so they're her 8-year-old twins, and he and his wife are killed, and she has to leave Canberra and move back to Sydney, and she struggles with the fact that suddenly she's inherited this family that she feels quite ill-equipped to manage.
Kath Holland specialises in writing romances with a medical theme for Mills and Boon. She is in fact one half of a writing team. 6 years ago, Stateline reported on her and her sister Belinda O'Callaghan. At that time, the young mums were just setting out on their romantic notion of becoming writers in their spare time. They penned their tales under the name of their late grandmother, Emily Forbes.
She would have been very proud. She died when we were very little, but I think she would have been very proud. She would have read our books.
Belinda O'Callaghan is not making the trip to Sydney and potential glory because even romance writers have to deal with the realities of kids and colds. Emily Forbes has turned out to be a success, publishing almost a dozen books in English, Italian, French, German and Afrikaans, 26 languages in all. But Kath Holland says in any tongue there's little celebration of romance writers.
It's like our Oscars, so it's recognition from the industry, which is really, really quite lovely, because I think a lot of people don't really take what we do seriously.
This is the home of romantic novelist Dame Sally Markham.
Indeed, many people don't take it seriously, which, while galling for romance writers, is hilarious on shows like Little Britain.
Then they watched a very long television programme which took up lots of pages. The end.
The Lazy Lady was a thinly disguised takeoff of the late, perhaps great, Dame Barbara Cartland, the doyenne of romance writers.
Well, let's start another one. The Lady in Mauve. Chapter 1. The end.
But even if romance novels won't shake Shakespeare in his grave, Christina Lee says writing a good one isn't a matter of lying back and thinking of England.
Oh, I think people think it is. I think it's actually quite hard to write a romance novel. At the end, what's at the heart of a romance novel is a good story, and it's the story that hooks the reader into reading romance novels.
And true love is proving remarkably resilient. Kath Holland says there are 130 million romance novels sold a year, and it not only survived but thrived during the global financial crisis. The golden rule in writing a romance is there must be a happy ending. The heroine ends up with her man. But that doesn't necessarily mean there'll be wedding bells, nor does it necessarily mean there'll be sex. And for heroes and heroines whose preferences lie elsewhere, these days there's a happy ending for them too.
There's a gay line in the States, of all places, which quite astounds me that American market has a genre for Mills and Boon that's a gay genre.
Hi, Alice. How's things? Good.
One thing, though, doesn't change. Overwhelmingly, it's women who read romance. Men, including Kath Holland's husband, tend not to be interested, even when the book is dedicated to them.
To my very own drop-dead gorgeous husband and romantic inspiration, James, and our two gorgeous boys, Ned and Finn.
And that's all he's read of this book?
So far. I'd like to think that he might get a bit further.
Generally, I like to read autobiographies or biographies, and we know the characters. Currently, I'm rereading The Coach, a season with Ron Barassi. I've just finished reading a Jack Reacher book.
While all tales of romance have a happy ending, real life doesn't always go that way. For Kath Holland, it was close but no cigar. The Emily Forbes book won second prize.
It was a little bit disappointing. For us, actually, we still get the perks because our book is being reprinted still. So they reprint 6 of the best love stories of 2010, they call it, and one of them is ours.
And so Kath Holland and her sister will keep writing, hoping for another nomination next year. As for the cash from the book reprints, well, money may not buy love, but it does make the world go round.